So a growing number of Democratic governors phasing out school mask mandates in defiance of President Biden. The White House is still pushing for students to keep their faces covered indoors, and they say that's because the CDC maintains it. Well, former Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker reacted in our last hour to that.
We are failing our kids in this country. Our children are falling behind. And sadly, it's been because of the political power of the massive teachers union and radicals like Tony Fauci, who've kept our kids out of school. That's got to stop. And even Democrat governors starting to understand that.
Well, let's bring in former White House Deputy Chief of Staff Karl Rove. Karl, what's your take on these developments? They're falling faster and faster.
Yeah, well, they're following the voters for one reason. There's a new poll out this morning from Axios Ipsos. Do you want to have no mandates and requirements open up with no mandates or requirements? 21%. You want to move towards opening up with precautions? 29%. So 50% saying we want to start moving in the direction of or get rid of all of the mandates and requirements. Mostly keep precautions and mandates in place, 23%. Now, this is interesting. Increase mask and vaccine requirements, 21%. But the side that says sort of status quo or make it even tougher, 44%. So I suspect a lot of these governors in places like Delaware and Colorado are looking at the polls and saying, you know what, people are accepting the fact that we need to find out how to live with this disease and not just simply keep our people locked down. I thought it was particularly interesting. They got an assist from an unlikely corner. Stacey Abrams, when she was caught taking her mask off while visiting a group of students who were all masked, said the reason she took it off was so that the students who were watching her on a Zoom could read her lips and hear her better. And isn't that one of the problems that we've got with masks in classrooms, that students are not learning as well as they used to?
Yeah, it's like the cover of the New York Post today. Get back to the smiles. Exactly to your point.
Yeah.
Randi Weingartner has been in the spotlight now for 2 years, heads up a huge teachers union. She was on MSNBC a bit earlier today, and she said, I think we have to be talking about the off-ramp for masks. So even you're starting to see a crack in the wall even with her positioning. Have you been able to see how, in a political sense, do Americans forget about this phase? Or if they remember it, how will we see that or note that in future elections?
Well, I do think parents are getting concerned about the very real impact of these kind of mandates and requirements on students. The mask mandate is not helping students learn, and the virtual learning is clearly putting a whole generation of students behind where they need to be. And I think parents are up in arms about it. We saw the electoral impact of that in Virginia, where a Republican ran significantly ahead of where Donald Trump did 2 years ago or a year and a half ago, and won. And my sense is that we're going to see more of this play out in the elections across the country, as long as the people who are advocating that we move in the right direction have a reasonable and responsible tone. We do want people to be vaccinated. We do want to follow the guidance of the scientists when they've got the proof that these things work. And one of the things we know about masks is masks really don't have a big impact on the infection rate or the illness rate for children because of the nature of the disease itself. So I suspect we're going to see more and more parents who are saying, you know what, we need to manage the risk. We want our children to be learning. We don't want them to be falling behind by having virtual education. And we want our children to get the best out of the in-class experience, which means we don't need to have masks for the students.
Karl, what about for President Biden? His State of the Union address is March 1st. He said he was going to crush the virus. He said he was going to get us to a return to normalcy. And he's leading from behind here as other Democratic governors move forward, and these school districts are probably going to move forward. So he might be the last person standing on this position once he gets to the State of the Union.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. And there's one other thing that he has been consistently doing. You mentioned it, alluded to it. He's been overpromising and underdelivering. We're going to crush this virus by July 4th. We're going to be able to have it in the rearview mirror. September, we're going to increase testing dramatically, and then they don't go out and order the tests, and the tests don't get ordered so that they start to show up until January. I mean, the president needs to be very careful about overpromising and underdelivering. Better for him to say, you know, here's what we're going to do, and then do it, than to do what he has been doing, which is raising our expectations and under-delivering.
Thank you, Karl. Nice to see you.
Thank you.
Well done.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.